Hi and welcome to Comcast Local Edition. I'm Elena Russo. Well, as the challenges of an ever-changing society are upon us, we are experiencing an increase in social services. Here to give us an update on what's going on the Lower Eastern Shore is John Culp, the Executive Director of the Lower Shore Red Cross. Mr. Culp, thanks for coming in today.
Oh, Elena, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You're in the market for looking for volunteers to help with some of the needs of our community. What are some of those needs and how have they changed? Oh,
Elena, first of all, I should say the Red Cross runs on volunteers. I run the local chapter, which covers Wacomico, Worcester, and Somerset counties, but there's only 4 of us on the payroll. Everything we do depends upon volunteers. And we have some wonderfully committed people for whom I'm so grateful, many people who've done it for years. But our main services as a chapter of the American Red Cross are disaster relief and response to emergencies, which goes on every day. People don't realize it, but house fires, flooding, we had that, you know, when we have a nor'easter, people get flooded out and somebody has to care for them, and that's us. At least a couple times a week there's a house fire where people are burned out of their homes and somebody has to get them under a roof and get them fed, and that's us. Services to the military, we have things going on all the time. Just one today as I left the office. Training in emergency skills, all these things are things that we do, and the need for all these things goes up all the time. Disasters, for example, house fires. In these troubled times when people are squeezed economically, people do some crazy things to stay warm, and some of those things don't work out so well, and there's a lot of fires, and it's the volunteers that report to these events that provide our services.
If somebody's watching this and says, well, I'd really like to get involved and volunteer, where do they go?
All they have to do is give us a call. We're right here in Salisbury, 410-749-5331. We do have a formal process that you go through. You fill out a formal application. We do a background check on everybody. Nobody goes out representing the American Red Cross, the Lower Shore chapter, without a background check. And then we get a sense of what you'd like to do, and you can be a disaster volunteer, you can help in the office, you can teach, you can respond to military calls. There's dozens of things you can do, and we'll find out what your interest is and what your capabilities are, and we'll find a spot for you.
It's funny, most people think American Red Cross donating blood, and you do so much more than that.
We do. Actually, my chapter does not get involved in blood donation. 43% of the nation's blood is collected by the Red Cross, but for historical reasons, which I do not know, that is done by the Blood Bank of Delmarva, not by my chapter.
I see. Well, you cover the 3 counties.
That's correct.
Any idea how many people you service?
Well, the population of those 3 counties, I believe, is about 170,000 people. And of course, in the summertime, when Ocean City fills up, the population is about 3 times that. So, and of course, that's also when hurricanes threaten the peninsula. So that's the most exciting time of our lives, is when Ocean City's full and there's storms coming up the coast.
And you are not funded by the National Red Cross.
No, and thank you for mentioning that, because this is something that troubles me. Many people think that a local chapter like ours is funded by the National, or is funded by the federal government, or is even funded by the state, and none of those things are true. Local chapters of the American Red Cross, like mine, are expected to be self-supporting. The thinking is neighbor helping neighbor, and if you cannot garner enough local support, you can be closed down.
Wow. Well, thank you very much for coming in, and we encourage all our viewers to get in touch with you and give back to their communities.
Very good. Thank you, Elena.
You just heard from John Culp, who is the Executive Director of the Lower Shore Red Cross. For Comcast Local Edition, I'm Elena Russo.